This to order. Are there any announcements? There is hearing for ordinance amendment December 18th, chapter 104, 45 handicap parking. I don't have my right glasses, so I'm going to keep doing that. Sorry. Then moving on to comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda. Seeing none. We can move on to the garage management report.
I do not have a copy of that right now, and Impark is not here. We did, it's part of the director's report, but we are working on the transition now, so.
Very good. And then let's move on to the director's report.
Oh, and really quick, since I don't really ever make announcements, I just wanted to give a public shout out to Public Works for the float, since I don't make announcements often, but the float that they did was so good. I just wanted to say that publicly.
Very well.
It was really fun. I was worried about the kids eating the snow, but
That is awesome. I'm so happy.
so as I said, we're working with Colonial and Impark to transition into the new contract. The termination date is slated for 12/31, but since that's New Year's Eve, we are trying to get it ahead of time. And everything seems to be going pretty well. In regards to that, so one of the capital line items we had for 2024 was, it was $24,000 to upgrade the cameras at the parking garages. After looking into it, the cost to run the conduit is much higher than what we expected. So I wanted to know if you were comfortable with, we wanted to use 14,980 for BSGI to upgrade security at the garages, to change to key fobs for the doors, similar to what we have here, so they'd be on our network. And then use some of the rest of that 24,000 towards where I know we need to buy 2 new computers for the garages. I don't expect anything else other than that, but I wanted to know, and I think we have a purchase order submitted. Bill's helping me with this, with the BSGI quote. And then the purchase order would be on finance. Because we will not get the cameras done this year with the cost. And do you remember what the roundabout number was for the conduit?
Between the cameras and the conduit, you're looking at a couple 100,000, not 30,000. So that's going to probably be a 2026 project as we do research next year for the following year.
Will you promise to do it next year?
We'll do the planning of it next year. We do have cameras in there, so there are cameras available. They're just not what we want them to be. But there are cameras, so it's not like there's no security now. But yes.
Are the cameras $10,000 a piece, Bill, just like the police cameras on the street?
No, they're less than that, maybe about half of that. But there's so many of the cameras, and all the cabling in that garage is old coaxial cable. It has to be replaced with Ethernet Cat6 cable. And that's going to require a lot of conduit running, a lot of cable, lots of cable, and some fiber, and a lot of cameras, plus a lot of outside cameras. This security system will actually have them fobbing in and out and being logged on our system here, which I think is pretty cool.
The cameras.
Can't have what we want, so
I
let's get.
want the cameras, but I will approve this. But please know that I really, really want those cameras.
Yeah. No,
I do have a question. The cameras, can they, when we go to upgrade everything, if we bought a couple of cameras with the leftover money and put them in sensitive areas, are they able to be retrofitted into the new system with the coax, whatever he's talking about over there?
I don't know if you can retrofit USB or whatever they are to coaxial.
It's possible. I think the best long-term answer is to build it in the security fobs we're doing. Next year, well, we do the research and get the pricing. You would have it in the same security system, including the cameras that are in this building. So it would be on the same dashboard. It would all be monitored up here. The cameras that are in the garages, they are working and they are available in police dispatch as well. And the police have used it for incidents. They can retrieve information. So it is functioning, but it is getting near end of life. So that you are correct, Sheila.
I think we just need to build January. I would build the budget for what we need.
Yep.
So we really know what's going on. That way there were not, you know,
Yeah.
at the end of the year saying, oh, well, we didn't have enough or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, good.
Okay. We are working on the license plate reader installation, so there's some pre-programming that we have to do with our super complicated permit system. But Monica and I are working on that, and we're hoping that we can complete that by the end of the month or very early January. So that's exciting, and I think that'll free up a lot of enforcement opportunities. I did notify Westchester University Public Safety about the 4 spaces that we discussed at the last meeting on Church Street. There was also another space for custodial that I don't know where that came from. I parked in it the other day. But I just got an email back, I think yesterday, that they say that they use it. And that it was approved, but I want to look into this a little more because it's not in the ordinance. So I do want to look into that because from what I understand, and Monica and I have discussed this, there are several cars that are not police cars parking in them consistently. So I'll have more information at the next meeting, but we are talking. I would like to work on the food truck ordinance next year. So I'm just giving a heads up because I think that it's time that we look at revising the cost, the requirements, and the ability to park in areas for long periods of time. I've looked at a lot of them, and a lot of them in other municipalities require them to move either every night or every few days. And I know with the street sweeping, I mean, it looks crazy down there right now. So I think that we should look into that and possibly making them incentivizing sustainability might be another opportunity. We went and talked to a planning class at Westchester University, and they had some good ideas on that. So I thought that might be a good early 2025 project. And then I attended the T2 conference in Denver last month, and that is the software company that does all of our enforcement software. It was really great. I learned a lot of tips and tricks. I met a lot of trainers, and I met a lot of people from Pennsylvania utilizing the software that have given us a lot of insight on ways to streamline processes, and hopefully we'll have an easier permitting season this year. Revenue-wise, I'm not going to read all of the numbers. I will say the posting revenue was up this month. In October, it was 5,377. November, it was 17,783. I think you probably noticed InfoSource had posted every block in the borough at one point. I think they're winding down. Our meter revenue was down a little bit, and I'm assuming that that's due to the holidays that we had small business weekend, and, you know, we also are transitioning. So I think that there was, and the weather might have dipped that a little bit. Our permit revenue decreased from 7,449. This month it was 3,728. Because we're spreading this out, I would expect that it'll be more consistent every month because we're changing the expiration dates of permits. So hopefully we won't have a huge September crazy month. And then food trucks, like I said, I'd like to work on that, but we did have, oh no, I'm sorry, we didn't have any this month. It was $800 total this year for food truck permits.
Can we request that the food moving down the road, there's one truck in particular that hasn't moved since 1992.
Yep.
And I'd love to see what's underneath of that truck, how many
Yeah.
undergrads are still eating underneath of there.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, there's also, we were
can we
just,
make them move?
yes, and there's also an opportunity when we modify some of our ordinances that we can change our, I think it's 10432 is street sweeping. If you don't move in like 2 times within the month, then you're a repeat offender and you can be ticketed accordingly and have increasing fines. So that might be an opportunity. But yes, we should be.
Well, that's going to be,
exactly.
that's going to be a real challenge because they just keep paying and paying and paying
Yeah,
until it's not painful enough
yeah.
for them, you know, I guess.
I would suggest that rather than we boot cars because we don't want them to be able to move, could
Right.
we shut the business down if
Yeah.
they are,
So when we do
not
the
moving.
ordinance, we can put in there that if you're in violation, and we could modify our booting ordinance as well, but it would say, if you don't abide by the regulations of this food truck ordinance, then we can ticket you and remove your permit and then take it in tow. So there's probably a way that we can work that into the penalties and violations of it.
Like I said, everybody else, we walk there every day.
Yeah.
Everybody else either comes and goes, especially on the weekends. They don't leave their vehicles there because there's no activity from Friday on.
Mhm.
But the one truck stays all summer too. And there's nobody in the truck
Yeah.
except for the creatures.
Yeah, I definitely think we should look into it because there are people that could be accessing those spaces for parking, or there could be other food trucks that want to
For
participate.
summer camps and stuff.
Yeah, yes, I definitely agree with that.
believe you.
Yeah.
Moving on to old business, motion to approve November 2024 Parking Committee meeting minutes. Very good. B, discuss special event parking fee locations.
So I think it was the last work session when I was in Colorado. I just want to bring this here. I know Nicole had asked for more information about the money that was received during those times to compare to what it could be with the special event rate. So, is there a spreadsheet in there? I'm sorry. So Monica pulled the, revenue for some of the events that took place. Grab that for, um, Gallery Walk, which if you, this was on a first Friday, so we made $1,416 in revenue. That's probably from people that weren't aware they didn't have to pay the meters. And Gallery Walk is, I think we might just want to look at, and I think that was a decision we made, is if the streets are shut down, then we're considering special event fees. But the Christmas parade, so if it was from 5 PM to 8 PM, the current rate was $4.50. I do know next year it'll be on December 5th, which I believe would be the first Friday. So if we had a special event fee, it would be $10 per car. So this, in the 2023, we made $3,418. I do know, like, the garage filled up before 5 PM. I got a call at 4:30 that the garages were almost full. But there is an opportunity for the lots to make some revenue on that, if we did want to charge special event fees there and on any of the ancillary meters outside of town, since those streets are shut down mostly for that. Restaurant Festival took place on a Sunday, so we made $19, but that was really well attended. So if we did want to consider putting the $10 fee on, there's an opportunity there. Chili Cook-Off was also on a Sunday. We made $26. The Halloween parade is on a Wednesday. The current rate is $3 because the parade is from 6 PM to 8 PM. So the on-street revenue was $2,256.50. I know that gets a good draw, so that's also an opportunity for lots. And then Chris Kindle Market was in 2023. It was on a Saturday from 1 PM to 8 PM. So only $4.50 was the rate for the hours that are charged. We don't start until 5 PM. And we made $2,139. I don't believe we did a special event fee in the garage for that either. So obviously, I'm sure the public will have feelings on being charged for this, but I do, again, knowing and seeing the budgets and the work put into this, it would be a nice way to help recoup some of the costs and work with the chamber or bid on these things.
I think that we need a special event fee because I want to share that revenue with these different.
Right.
Great. Lot 9,
Mhm.
right by the courthouse.
Yep.
And lot 10 and the Spaz lot.
Yep.
I mean, those are prime lots for $10 parking, and people will clamor to
Right.
be able to park in there.
Right.
And we talked about that the Christmas parade, they were supposed to pay the kiosks when they came in,
Right.
but I'm not so sure we even thought about that. But if we have someone at each entrance, they'd have it's a $10 fee.
Yeah, I mean, we can pre-program it and the majority of these, except for the Sundays, there wouldn't be overtime because officers are already here. So it would just be a staffing and enforcement issue because everything would be pre-programmed ahead of time. So they could just pay it. And I know $10, some people might not love paying that. But again, the costs that go into this, it would be, as a mom, I would pay the $10 to park because it would help bring more events like this into the town. So that my recommendation would be to try it at least for 2025.
What are we suggesting about the Sundays?
I would say that if there's a special event, we find a way to promote that clearly. And we would do, if there's a special event where the streets are shut down, that the lots and on-street parking would be enforceable. We might need an ordinance change, but if there's a way to promote that so that we could recoup some of the costs, I think it would be worth trying.
I'm in support of that, but I know some other people might not be, and I'm very open to hearing.
I think some of the churches are going to push back on Sundays
Okay.
at 10 a.m.
Well, so this would be like for the Halloween parade, we would do it only around those hours. So, and yeah. So it would be Sunday, chili cook-off, restaurant festival. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, come to think of it, Lot 9, the
Mhm.
Presbyterian Church on West Minor,
Mhm.
that's the parking lot that everybody parks in. And they have 2 services on Sundays.
What time, do you know?
Can't answer that.
Okay.
Because I see Alan walk by with Sarah, I think about 9, and maybe they have a 9 and 11
Okay,
at the Presbyterian.
okay. So maybe to accommodate, I mean, we do have the opportunity to change the times of enforcement. And also if you're in there early enough, you're not charged for that. You're charged regular rate. It doesn't, you don't go in and pay at 9 a.m. and then at 10 a.m. your fee changes to $10. Like you would pay the hourly rate while you're there. But maybe there's a way to work with the churches on this.
I go to church,
Yeah.
it's 9 a.m.
Yep.
At
So you could pay
walk
for
me
2.
through when I get charged and when I don't.
So if you're there, well, we'd have to find a way that they could say they're there for church ahead of time. Yeah, no. If there was, I forgot there's no paid parking on Sunday. So yeah. Maybe there's a way to coordinate it or we time it that it's after the services for the churches in those areas.
5 is the same situation
Yeah.
as Lot 9.
Yeah.
And then the Spaz lot, a lot of St. Agnes people park in there.
Mhm.
So it's Sundays. It's, most services are over by 12.
Yeah.
So
If we timed it after 12, we would have to communicate super clearly to all the churches, but what would happen if I came in at 9
Right.
and I left at 1? What happens?
Right. That's what I have to figure out because if you're there and you don't pay after a certain point, then you would get a ticket for not paying. So.
if you're in church that long, you're a bad
I'm
sinner.
really committed.
Confession is not that long.
So maybe we put a pin in the Sunday and let me and Monica come up with some more ideas for that. But there are opportunities for the other, at least the Christmas parade, especially because I don't think we recouped a ton of the revenue because people got in there before the event fee started. So.
I almost feel like I know there's reason we do a lot of these events on Sundays, but I'm wondering if like
Move it to Saturday.
move it to Saturdays.
Yeah, and honestly, it might be that they do a lot of these on Sundays because the parking was free. So it was, so if we're going that route, then it might not matter if it's a Sunday.
Does anybody have Sean or why are the events on Sunday? I know I've heard a reason and I can't think of it right now. as to why these events are on Sunday and it wasn't it was like police availability, something, I don't know.
Gosh, I wish Keith were here. He would have a good explanation. There is a reason.
There's a reason. Look into that.
All right, I will
Why
find
they're
that.
on Sunday.
also. Okay.
Okay, let's just keep talking. We'll move on to C, discuss Hotel Indigo parking plan for Chestnut Street Garage.
So I think I shared a draft. I'm not sure if I shared a draft at the last work session, but Kristen sent over this. This has been discussed with both our side and the hotel side. It just memorializes the I think it's 25 spaces signed and then 30 unsigned spaces. This is a 1-year agreement. I do want to be able to look at the use of the unsigned spaces moving forward so that we know, because they're asking to pay the $60 rate for that, because they're alleging that it'll only be overnight parking. So I've already talked to Colonial about this, but we do want to really find a way to make sure that we understand the use of the hotel spaces and see if that rate needs to come up next. I said 6 months, but this is a year, so we have time to revisit it and modify if needed.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
New business. I have 2 things. This is going to go into other business. Let's just move to other business. Mhm. Getting there. Okay, 2 things I want to talk about. One, I'm going to bring up something. It's not the appropriate committee. I'm bringing up anyway. I have sent out multiple emails about helping move businesses forward. They need to be inspected. I know there's medical issues going on, but we need more support in building and housing. We need that to move forward. Please do everything we can to continue pushing that forward as quickly as possible. Businesses are very important to our borough and they're more and more coming and we need to be there for them. Okay, I just said that. Thanks. Then I have had multiple conversations over this past month with constituents who work in the borough but do not live in the borough, and they find our parking very confusing. This is not shocking to me. But it occurred to me about a week ago, I was like, we should have something on our website that helps people understand, if I work on Chestnut Street, what are my parking options? Specifically, right next to the YMCA and all the loading zone signs that are never used. Like, what are we doing as a borough? Like, there are people who are trying to park and there are people complaining to me regularly about being ticketed, and I don't know. I want to stand in front of the Y and point. I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
There's a 7-story building directly across the street where you never get a ticket, but it's not convenient for them and they don't want to repay on the parking meters there. Now, the loading docks are different, but
There are 5 loading spots next to the building.
yeah, well, that I don't know why.
Yeah. I think now that we're almost done with the handicap parking, I would like to work
Yeah,
on loading
loading-
zones, especially,
Union Street.
are there, oh, yes. But I think those meters, don't they stop at 3 PM also? Yeah, so there's a lot of, if you read our ordinances, there's just crazy things that have been approved. So I do agree with the loading zones. We do have, I should have it on the website soon, but PAC did approve the parking map that Bree Dillon, I believe is her name, the artist that designed that. So we'll have that available to share. I do think part of it is that people don't want to pay. And we've been very strict in our office about not recommending unpermitted areas because that then displaces residents. So we do try to get everyone to go to the garages and the lots, and then we'll work on the Flowbird sharing.
I love that. I want to say, let's try to do something where if I'm not living in the borough, I can pop on there and say, okay, I want to be here. What's my cheapest option?
Right.
Hopefully it's always the garage, but like, whatever.
Yeah.
Just an option.
Yeah.
And then I want to fix all the loading zones, but I've been saying
Yes.
that for years. So
Do also need to revamp our non-residential program because there are, like, there's the dentist office on Minor Street and there's a couple of places near the Y that have non-residentials and they have like 14 people. So that makes it really hard. So we do need to work on, and this is something that we talk about all the time. I think we need to modify our permit areas to clean them up a little bit. And then there's an opportunity for non-residential if I know Sean would like us to get back to surveying the usage of the areas, and that's something that we need to do. That'll give us a better idea of use. But I agree with you, and I understand what you're saying.
I'm
Yeah.
just going to say annoying things until
No.
something happens, but
You're
thank
not
you.
wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, we had that conversation today, you know?
Yes.
Like, oh, I can't figure out how to park.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a big building. It's 7
Yeah.
stories.
And it'll have new wayfinding
It-
signage. too.
Yeah, and you can't miss it.
Yeah.
There's a phobia about going in the parking garage.
I know there is.
I don't know what it is, but it's,
Are you
no.
on public safety?
no. I paid $25 for 3 hours in Center City the other day,
Yeah.
going to the Christmas Village,
Yeah.
freezing to death.
Mm.
But but 3 hours, $25.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
take pictures
And,
of
it was-
signs.
and that
wherever I
wasn't
go.
a special deal.
Yeah.
It was attached to the Doubletree Hotel, the old Hershey Hotel.
Yeah.
And that's what I went, oh, okay.
Yeah, Denver, it was a flat rate of $18 if I stayed or left. And I know New York's like 40 an hour.
I'm going to say something else that's not really. Are you on public safety? No. A pedestrian crosswalk from the garage to the Y?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know that's not easy. I just asked like a ridiculous thing, but
Yeah, there's parents pulling kids like out through the middle of cars. That's the way I go home every night. Yeah,
What was, I didn't
in
hear.
front of the Y to the
pedestrian.
garage, nobody goes to the corner. Yeah,
Mid-block jaywalk,
yeah.
and it's a mad dash.
It's a poorly designed garage.
I'm
You
sorry.
shouldn't have a massive door in the middle of the block when it's little tiny kids who are out there.
Well, why don't we close it?
You want to close the door?
Sure.
We'll cage all those cars in there.
You just can't drive a car out there.
Yeah.
And they tell you still walk across. It's,
Just for
You
tell
know what?
people in it and no children.
Miss Vaquera, you just can't fix everything.
I'm gonna try anyway.
Just
Okay.
letting you
Yeah,
know.
I'll talk to Public Works about
Dude.
that. Yeah.
It's a PennDOT road. Oh, I know what I'm asking. Okay, I'm gonna adjourn this meeting. How's that? Adjourned.
Thing. 6:50.
Thank you.